Hello and welcome to another tutorial. In this tutorial, I'm going to be discussing the Freeform widget. The Freeform widget is a way to add forms with a variety of different fields and ask just about any question you can want. Users can fill in those forms and submit them to you, and you can use integrated autoresponders or even email management programs such as MailChimp. And if you want to ask users specific questions, you would want to use Freeforms. If you want users to be able to send you a message or to contact you with email or phone or another contact method, you would want to use the form contact. However, if you want to customize what you're asking the user, then you would want to use the Freeform because it is a lot more freedom. So once you create the Freeform, it's going to ask you to choose a new field. So once you create the free form, it's going to be blank. You can add a title on the top here. And for the form and field options, you would simply click add a new field in order to create a new field. The label is going to be the label of that particular field, and that's determined by the field type usually. We have multiple different field types to choose from. So text field would basically give them a text box that they can type in, very similar to this right here that the label is in. So you'd simply type text, and the text help is going to be below the form, which is used to help describe the form. So you could say enter text here, and that'll let them know they can enter text there. And the placeholder, that's not really going to be visible directly on the website, but that is visible in the coding of the website. So if you're viewing the HTML, you can use placeholders to locate particular fields easily. But once you've filled in all of the information, you would choose the field type, the label, the help text, which will appear below, placeholder if you want, and whether or not it's mandatory. If you choose no, that means they won't be required to fill it out before they hit the submit button. If you choose yes, that means they will have to fill it out, and it won't let them submit before all the mandatory boxes are filled out. So once you have all that set, you can click save, and you can see on the right there, it has now created our little text box with our text right on the top. The label is the text, and the help text is right below that. That says enter text here, and you can enter text, and then if they were to send the form, then that form has now been submitted. And it's really that simple. You would just simply add all the different fields that you want for whatever question you want to ask. So let's say if you wanted their name, you would put name here, and then they would enter their name. All sorts of different field types. The email field is specifically for emails, so that'll recognize if it is an email or not. So you would just simply ask someone for their email with that. The text area is just like the text field, except it's bigger. A much bigger box that people would be able to enter more text in. So you can see it's a much bigger box. As for the select, this allows people to select an option. So let's say you had like sizes, for example, and you wanted them to select one size. You would enter one option per row, such as small, and then you would hit enter to go down into a new row. And once you enter your options, you can save this, and those options will then appear in a little drop down box, and they would be able to select one. If you want users to be able to select multiple options, you can use select multiple, and then that'll let users select multiple options. Now when I save this one, users would be able to hold down Shift or Control to select multiple options. Control will let you select individual options, and Shift will select everything in between those 2 points. You can click somewhere, click Shift, hold Shift and click somewhere else, and that'll select everything in between, or deselect, and Control selects and deselects individual items. So that's an easy way to select multiple items. And for select numbers, it'll automatically generate a list of numbers for you. So you can type in numbers here, and you can enter where it starts and where it ends. So if you want this to start, in 1 and end in 50, it'll just generate a list of 1 through 50 that then they would be able to select the drop down and select the number. And if you wanted to skip numbers, you can use this step here. So if you wanted to do skip every other number or every two numbers or something, you can do 1 through 50. And if you wanted to skip if you skip three numbers, you can type step 3. And now when we scroll down to the skipper, you can see it skips every three numbers. So it's 1, skip 3, goes to 4, skips 3, goes to 7, skips 3, goes to 10. So that's an easy way to do like patterns if you wanted to select multiple numbers with skipping numbers. You can also do a checkbox. So you would just simply say yes or no, or whatever you want for the label, and then they would be able to check or uncheck, and that'll automatically create a checkbox for you, as well as file upload. So you can actually ask someone to upload a file. So let's say you want them to upload a picture or something. You can select file upload, and then this will actually let users upload a file from their computer. They would be able to browse their computer system and actually upload a file. So that's an easy way to upload files or get files from people. You can also do dates. So this is going to basically create a calendar, and they would be able to select a date. And you can ask whether it's only future dates, yes or no. So if you select no, that means they'd be able to select a date in the past. Or if you're like asking for future reservations or something, you can select yes, and they will not be able to select a past date, only a future date. You got to give this a label. And then that way there's a little calendar. They'd be able to select a date that they want for like a reservation or something. As well as rating. So you can do star ratings. The standard is 5 stars, but you can generate all the way up to 10 stars if you want and ask them how many stars they rate that. As well as gender, it'll ask them for their gender with a little drop down box. And you can even do country, where it asks for the little country, asks which country they're from, and it can even show the flags right next to them. So once you have all of the fields that you want to create, you can organize them easily. You can determine the columns on the desktop. So normally they're going to take up a single column on mobile because that's easier to see on mobile because it's a lot smaller screen. But on desktop, if you wanted, you can see this is 2 columns. You can see it actually takes up 2 separate columns there. But you can change that if you want. So you can do 3. When you save and update that, you can refresh the page. You can see it is now 3 columns, or you can do 1 where it'll just be all down the line, just like the mobile as well. So that's an easy way to organize them and keep them separate and looking better on mobile versus desktop. And down here below for the form data and options, this is where you would choose where that information is sent. So you would type your email here, and that's where it would go. It would go to that email, and you can enter more than one email address if you separate them with a comma. And you can even post them to a form as well. So if you have a URL where a form data is located, you can post that there. And this is the text for the submit button. And this is going to change what that submit button would look like instead of send form. And here is the help/explanation text. Here's where you can enter like a brief description, please fill out the information and we'll get back to you. And that'll let people know to fill out the information below, and that's going to appear above everything. You can see that just appeared right there below the title. And that's the help explanation text. And for the autoresponder, if you want to enable the autoresponder, this is going to automatically respond to anyone if they enter their email address. So in order for this to work, you'll have to actually have an email address field and ask for their email address in order to actually use the autoresponder. And for the autoresponder to actually respond to them, they have to enter a correct email address. So once you have that field, the autoresponder will work properly, and you can enter your from address, and this will be the email that it appears that it's sent from, as well as the from name. So if you want to do like an actual name, it'll appear from this name at this email address, and that's the subject. So always make sure you put a nice subject, and that's the body of the auto response right here. So this is the text. You'd say, thank you for messaging me, however you want to do it. And whatever you type here is what's going to email to them. You can also integrate with MailChimp. You would simply log into your MailChimp, find your API key, and you can simply paste that right there. and it's very easy to use. And we are going to be adding more integrations as well. And once we add more, we're going to make some tutorials on that as well. So you can see the Freeform. It's pretty easy to use. The additional options are just like all the other widgets. You can determine whether this is mobile only or desktop only. And the additional styles let you determine the background and some of the custom classes as well as animations as well. So it's pretty obvious. The Freeform is very easy to use. You would simply click add a new field, choose what field it is, and enter the text. Once all of your fields are created, make sure to put your email address in the send to, and you're all set and ready to go.